Thank you for joining me on the program. All may not be well anytime soon for the immediate past governor of Kogi State, as the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, claimed on Tuesday that investigations by the anti-graft agency revealed that the embattled former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, withdrew a whopping sum of $720,000 from the state's coffers to pay his child's school fees. This amongst a plethora of claims also. Now, the EFCC chairman also said that he had personally put a call through to the governor, the former governor, inviting him to clear the air on issues, but he refused to honor the invitations. Olukoyede spoke with editors, bureau chiefs, and also media executives at the agency's headquarters in Jabi, Abuja on Tuesday, amidst the raging controversy and counterclaims between the EFCC and the ex-governor. Now, joining me on the program to shed more light on this is Dr. Sam Amadi, Director, Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. Thank you for joining me on the program, Dr. Amadi.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, before we get into the crux of today's conversation, let's listen a bit to some of the things the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission said, at that media parley. Take a listen.
Before court, go and check it. Apply for our processes, please. You will get some of these particulars of offense there. Move money directly from government to bring the change. Use it to pay the child's school fee in advance. In advance. Dollars. How much? 70 what? In dollars, yes. In dollars. I think $72,000 or thereabout. $720,000, sorry. $720,000 in advance. In anticipation that he was going to leave government house. In a poor state like Kogi, and you want me to close my eyes to that, under the guise of saying I'm being used. Used by who? At this stage of my life, used by who? By who? For crying out loud. I assumed office here. I didn't initiate the case. I inherited the case file. I called for the case file. I called for the report. And I said, look, there are issues here. Do you know on my honor, I put a call across to him, which ordinarily I'm not supposed to do, just to honor him as a governor, as a immediate past governor. Sir, there are issues. I've seen this case file. Can you just come? Let us clarify these issues. I'm under camera. He said, sir, I thank you, my brother. I know, but I can't come. There's one lady, I don't know what her name is, maybe a senator, that she learned she had said, she has surrounded the EFCC with over 100 journalists, to come and embarrass him and intimidate him and all kind of stuff. I said, okay, if that is your fear, I'm going to pass you through my own gate, special man's gate. You will come to my floor. We will accord you that respect. I will invite my operatives. They will come and interrogate you or interview you in my own office. What could be more honorable than that? In my own office. To allay the fear. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You know what he said? But can't they come to my village?
I mean, this amongst quite a number of other things the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission did say at that media parley. But Dr. Amadi, let me take your immediate reactions to some of what you just had the chairman say.
Well, first, I think probably the chairman went harassed and worried about the fight back from former governor Yahaya Bello. I mean, he has tried to maybe accord him what he called special respect as a former governor, which are accorded to other suspects, persons who have allegations against them, who are suspected of any economic and financial crime. So it's actually even an unfair advantage to Yahaya Bello. Ordinarily, should be treated like every other suspect. But again, maybe it was the right thing for the chairman to show some but again, I just want to underline that if I was not office, I would probably conduct this interview. Shouldn't be too worried. I mean, this is antics of people in power in Nigeria. the Nigerian big man who rallies institutions to himself, hijacks the police, the military, the judiciary, the EFCC, the church, the mosque, everything, to create a sense of the state. So when they're in government, 8 years, brutality, 8 years of sometimes living as if the 8 years will not end. And when it's time for accountability, then they look for, something to be, they create this idea of persecution. Yes, EFCC may need to improve some of their work, but the fact remains that if you are EFCC asked to come, you should come. I've said it clear, no court should give anybody any order to say that police cannot invite you, to say that EFCC cannot invite you. No, that is unconstitutional. And that's
it's unconstitutional. I'm sorry, I would need to come in at this point because there's a political group, for instance, that, of course, has said that or has accused the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that's a pro-Yahaya Bello group, saying that the actions of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is unconstitutional. And of course, according to them, disobeying valid orders of the court as they affect the former governor. Now, part of the things this group actually did say is that we are worried about the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, a body that derives its powers from the law, the same as the court, will arrogantly act in commando style and blatantly disobey orders and valid law court decisions, restraining it from taking action against the former governor. Can you please shed more light on how this legal processes actually works? When an institution like the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission invites an individual, can you, if you choose to take the legal route, are there legal means of escape in all of this?
If you're invited and the invitation is unreasonable, for example, if they say you have to come to our office 2 p.m., you are in Kogi, and they say must come by 2 p.m., otherwise we'll come there, we'll shoot you dead. There's a threat to your fundamental rights. The problem with Nigerian laws is that sometimes these lawyers quote laws without thinking through what honestly accurate. So the court can say, do not arrest this man in this manner. No court should say that police should never invite, question, investigate somebody at large, totally. That violates the Constitution because the Constitution creates the policing function, the law enforcement function. Same way it creates the judicial function. The court can interpret actions of other branches of government, but the court should not impede them in exercise of due process. So if a court is going to say, come back to me, that's why you look at the Administration of Justice Act, there are procedures for detention. You go to court, take a warrant, arrest somebody, interview the person. If you cannot charge him to court the next 1 day or 24 hours or 48 hours, as the Constitution says, you cannot go to the High Court judge or Magistrate Court judge and apply for warrant of detention. Now, that detention is within the control of the court. The court can say, take him out. So I am in support that EFCC or every other agency must follow the rules. And the rules are that you have to obey court order. But I'm also of the opinion that courts cannot, should not issue injunction against exercise of constitutional duty. It's the constitutional duty of EFCC. Just take it this way. So if the court gives that order and suddenly you kill somebody, you commit armed robbery, you go and take a gun and shoot somebody dead, and the police sees you or there's a report, and the Constitution says police has the right of investigation, prevention, and prosecution of crime. So police will not call you, invite, because you've secured the High Court. And again, so I think that what we are seeing is corruption, playing large. Corruption is the reason why we are seeing so much of this. And the argument, therefore, is the courts, lawyers themselves, everybody should have interest in ensuring that, when criminals or anybody is brought to justice, that they should be prosecuted. And fair prosecution. The idea of avoiding, okay, by the way, how many people have gone to EFCC? Have you heard about EFCC even slapping, abusing, maltreating any former government? But EFCC is like a privileged place for them.
Okay,
maybe if it was
I mean, the reason why I'm asking this is I would like to bring it within this particular context. A part of what the chairman did say in that parley is that they went to pick up the former governor and were met with resistance. And according to him, he did not want a replica or a repetition of what happened during the time or the case of Rochas or Korocha. If we cast our mind back a bit, where some of the officials back then came in through the roof, Gestapo style. He said he had what it took to order his men, you know, to do whatever it takes to bring out the former governor. But he said he did not want to go that route because, according to him, they are for white collar, you know, criminal or financial cases, and they are not, you know. So I want you to look at this within the modus operandi on this case of the EFCC. Have they breached any step, you know, in trying to, of course, get the governor to come out?
I don't think they have breached anything. Look, if there was an order saying never interview, arrest, investigate this man, then we can say it's a breach. But what they're saying is that either order has expired, and I'm saying that such orders are unconstitutional, and the court should not be issuing orders that forbid a constitutional agency from executing a constitutional duty. Court orders can streamline, define how those duties should be carried out. Not to say, nobody should be said, don't arrest anybody. Arrest is a continuous work. Meaning, even if, as I'm speaking here now, if I leave this office, there might be a case against me. EFCC can invite me or police can invite me. And if I say I'm not going to come, they'll have a right to secure a warrant. I should never, ever get an order that says, do not arrest me under the constitution. It's not constitutional. Now, again, I think what EFCC have done, the way they went there, they have issued him invitation, he refused to come, telling them to go to his village. You know, I think they have a right to, once they have a warrant of arrest, to execute it in the manner they did. They didn't bring down the house, they didn't break through, they didn't shoot anybody, they didn't handle anybody. It's actually the government's entourage that acted unlawfully by enabling a suspect to escape arrest. In fact, it's a crime under the law, under the Police Act, under the law. So my view is very simple, and the point I was trying to make.
Okay.
Why would a former governor not ask? Why would a former governor ask a court to stop his arrest? Have you ever seen, in what way is arrest a damage to somebody? I mean, if you just arrested, not detention, why should arrest be considered as something that the court should protect against? Arrest is not an evil. Arrest is common. Arrest is the way police works. So if there's a need to arrest me, they invite me, I explain myself, what the court should be doing to say, follow the law. If you invite them, do not detain them, charge them to court, or grant them administrative bail. These are the areas to talk about. So anybody who is asking court to stop EFCC from inviting them is presumably a criminal. Let me put it flat. The work of police, EFCC, everybody, is to invite persons of interest. Sometimes you may not even be a criminal or corrupt. You might be a person of interest. What we should be expecting and demanding is that those people should be treated with dignity. So when they go there, they are protected. Their lives are not violated. Nobody should ever be protected from EFCC question. I stand here as a lawyer to say any lawyer who argues that any Nigeria has a right to be protected from criminal investigation, criminal invitation to come to police or EFCC, and whereas genuine prosecution according to law, that person is not talking the law. The law should be, the police should be allowed to do their work, and they should do it according to the law. And if they invite you, you should go there except you are trying to run away from justice. So what Ben has done is presumably, raises the presumption that he's trying to escape justice.
All right. I mean, talking about the legal framework, there was also a report of no fewer than about 500 legal practitioners from across the country on Monday stormed the Supreme Court. I want to believe you're privy to that particular story that happened earlier in the week, where, of course, in condemnation of what they call the illegal approach of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in handling the allegations against the former governor of the state. Now, the lawyers under a particular umbrella actually did condemn the warrant of arrest, on the former governor. As a legal practitioner yourself, what do you make of your purported colleagues?
First, I don't read their lawyers. And if their lawyers, such conduct is disgraceful and they are disgraceful. I mean, lawyers are going to protest at the Supreme Court. Supreme Court for what? That police issued arrest, EFCC issued arrest warrant against a person. They're not protesting about the corruption, the degradation, the injustice, even the collapse of the dignity of law profession. So look, see what has happened. Over the years, we have seen the fact that lawyers have now become a corrupted class. Many of them, including senior lawyers. Criminals and all corrupt persons hire them for free. So those people, I can tell you, they are procured. I don't see how a decent lawyer who actually has a work. I mean, again, I've been critical of the law school. We are producing many lawyers the system cannot take as lawyers. In other places, you can have a law degree, you're a journalist, you're not a lawyer, you're not practicing law, or you are working in the ministry, you're in a business. But everybody in Nigeria goes to law school and become a lawyer. And there's no market, no economy to gainfully employ these guys. And they are loitering. Shameless. This is my profession. They are loitering. And there's one time you see lawyers press conference. You see lawyers going on air talking nonsense, quoting laws they don't understand very well. How can a lawyer ever mobilize himself and say that there's a grave violation of the right of Yahaya Bello that constitutes a justification to protest at the Supreme Court? For what? How can? So if lawyers did that, it shows the depth of degradation and corruption and rottenness in the legal profession. That lawyers can dress up and protest that a man who covered the state 8 years with evident misgovernance and terrible behavior, even if it is innocent, even if it was the best governor, that EFCC says, come for questioning. The EFCC gets a warrant to arrest you, constitutes a reason why lawyers will be on the street. Lawyers are on the street when allegations of judicial corruption are published. Lawyers are on the street when there's terrible killing of lawyers. Some lawyers were killed by cars and police officers in Lagos. Lawyers do not protest. They don't protest when there are violations of rights of citizens, houses, estates, and places are pulled down. They don't protest. The thing that lawyers protest is when a man who is rich, if not governor, supposed to go for investigation.
I mean, Dr. Amadi, you said something here. You said, unfortunately, lawyers have become, a corrupted class. I mean, that's a heavy. Yes, that's a very heavy statement. I mean, they are usually referred to as learned fellows. Why is that? That you feel that they've suddenly, quite a number of them have become corrupted.
Many of them are not even learned in the reasons of learning, integrity, excellence, knowledge. And many of them are outrightly corrupt. By the way, I was chief executive of a government institution. I tell you, if some of the corruption of government offices is because lawyers give useless advice, paid for, bought over. And I ask the question, what great mischief has happened about EFCC? This EFCC has a case against Ojo Carlo, they have a case against Panimu, former governor, they have a case against almost all the governors, with the exception of people like P2B, a couple of them, maybe Fashola for now. Many of these guys, almost all the governors are facing one indictment. They have a case against Fayoshe, who himself came there. They have a case against almost all the governors. I answer one charge or the other in the EFCC. So what peculiar mischief has occurred because they want Yahaya Bello to come and answer questions. That should warrant anybody who calls a lawyer, talkers of maybe hundreds or tens of lawyers massing together and protesting to nowhere but the Supreme Court. What has the Supreme Court done? So I can tell you that action is a corrupted action. And I can bet that those lawyers were paid for, were procured. No lawyer, decent, knowledgeable, professional, would go and protest because EFCC invited. No, there was no story of EFCC breaking his leg. They have not caught him, manhandling him, in which case, as human rights lawyers, we would say that is violation of humor. So any lawyer you see on air, talking as if the invitation to the man to come and the attempt to arrest him to answer charges is like a Second World War. That lawyer, you can presume that that lawyer is corrupt or corrupted. So I stand by my claim that the legal profession now has a corrupted class. Apart from having a poorly educated class, it also has a very corrupted class.
Okay. All right, Dr. Amadi. Now, Dr. Amadi, let's look at, of course, a particular claim by the Yahaya Bello team. Now, according to them, they've described that's the commission, the EFCC, as lawless and dishonorable government institution. Now, for them, they feel that the governor has been branded to be at large, when in the first place, it was never, according to his media team, was never even served or invited in the first place. That's according to them. My question is this. I mean, looking at the whole back and forth and the fact that the governor has not, gone to the office of the EFCC to present himself, what other reasons do you think that there might be for this?
The only conjecture I can make is that he doesn't want to order the call. I mean, the media team is saying no invitation, EFCC is lawless. If it was Sam Amadi, the EFCC has gone on air and put a notice, say I'm wanted. I will write to the IG or whoever put it and say, remove that wanted by tomorrow, 12 o'clock. I'm coming to your office to show myself. That's what should be done. And you ask for damages that you wanted. You now show that you never had that call with the chairman. Of course, there's a call log, MTN or bring it out. So if you can show that he never knew that you're wanted, and they went and said that you are wanted, declare you wanted, then it's a ground for damages. But you will be a hero to say, sweet statement, and say, tomorrow morning by 2 p.m., I'll be at the EFCC office. When Faisal was asked to come, I remember very well. He walked down there with t-shirt and his trousers, announced it, and went there. There. I'm not sure whether he was detained for a day or not. We went with his lawyer, with Michael Zekebe. That's what a governor should do. Those advocates, those lawyers, those 500 lawyers who were procured, let them now come and accompany you to that office. I said, tomorrow I'm going there. So anybody who is talking anything about Yahaya Bello, violation of his right, and it's not saying you should go to the EFCC, the person is enabling corruption. A legitimate government agency with a clear statutory mandate has asked you to report that there's allegation against you bordering on investment of 80 billion. The only honorable thing you would do if you are not corrupt and if you're not evading justice is to challenge them and say, tomorrow I show my face. Bring those documents. In fact, demand that they allow cameras to come in during the interrogation. I want camera to be there when I'm interrogated. And you'll be the hero. People will say, this is the man. But any other thing, any subterfuge, any gathering of shameless and shamed lawyers come and be protesting for one person whose right has not been applied. I keep making the point. There is no violation of Yahaya Bello's rights so far that becomes so malicious that should draw lawyers to the rights have been, when Shaware was even declared, Nnamdi Kanu has been granted bail. He has been in detention. There's not been released. Who is protesting?
All right.
Shaware was there for years, debarred, being tried on a wrong. Who protested? There are many Nigerians today who ought to be released. How many lawyers have protested? Because those people cannot pay and cannot hire the mob.
All right, Dr. Sam Amadi, Director, Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. Thank you for your time on the conversation. You're still watching The Conversation on News Central Television, and of course we are x-raying the face-off between the former governor of Kogi State, the immediate past governor, that is, Yahaya Bello, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, which of course in the past few days has raised a lot of dust. Well, to further shed light on this, I'm joined on the program by Deji Ajare. Now he's the Executive Director, Sterling Law Center from Abuja. Thank you for your time, Deji.
Thank you so much for having me today.
All right, Deji. Well, let me start off with this. You actually wrote a letter calling for the commencement of impeachment proceedings against the governor, that's the current governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, for acts of misconduct and abuse of office. You gave about 3 reasons in your letter. I wish that letter could come up on screen anyway. But would you like to shed more light? I mean, just let me highlight the reasons based on your letter before me. Harboring a fugitive, obstruction of justice, misuse of state resources, and of course it goes on. Would you want to elaborate more?
Okay, thank you so much again. And it's simple. Well, there were wide reports in many media houses that the current governor of Kogi State, Governor Usman Ododo, drove his motorcade, his official motorcade, to the residence of former governor Yahaya Bello, where the EFCC was laying siege in preparation for the arrest of the former governor, and he aided his escape. Even before that time, there have been reports too that the former governor is currently, was hiding in the State House under the protection of Governor Usman Ododo. Now, for me, I think it's a simple issue. We operate within a system of the rule of law. And the rule of law is a fundamental principle in any democratic society like ours. It ensures that everybody, each individual and authority within the states are accountable to laws that are equally enforced and independently adjudicated. If it is indeed true that these allegations against the governor are true, then they are of such serious nature that Governor Ododo must be seen as undermining the principle of the rule of law. It is suggesting that those who are in power are above the law. It is suggesting that Governor Ododo has the powers to extend his immunity to anybody that he chooses. It is suggesting that a sitting governor can decide to twist the rule of law to protect his political allies or political godfathers or whatever. Now, what we are saying is that if elected officials are entrusted by the public to act in the community's best interest and to manage public resources responsibly, and where they have failed to do so, such as using the public funds or public assets to aid fugitives, that will amount to misuse of taxpayers' money.
I mean, in your letter, okay.
Will ultimately
okay.
erode public trust in government institutions. This is the reason we consider that the appropriate steps to take will be for the State House of Assembly to investigate, and if indeed they find that it is true that the governor has done any of these things, then they should commence impeachment proceedings against the governor.
Okay, I mean, please land. I want you to land before I comment.
Okay, now, the misuse of state resources for personal or unapproved purposes is corruption in itself. And if the former governor, who is being accused of corruption, is being aided by the present governor through corrupt means, then you already agree with me that we have a problem, one that requires that all citizens must rise up to ask, to demand that, look, something should be done. And that is exactly what we did, what I did with my letter to the Kogi State House of Assembly.
Okay, I mean, on your letter here, I can see that the governor, according to your words, you said the governor has been alleged. I mean, it's just an allegation, and this doesn't seem substantive enough. Do you think that your case is actually concrete?
Well, you will see that I did not sit in my room to pass judgment on the governor. What I did was to ask those who the Constitution says should do so to investigate. The State House of Assembly has the responsibility to investigate allegations of abuse of office against a sitting governor. And that is basically what we have asked them to do. So no judgment has been passed. Like I said, these are allegations. I wasn't there, and I am sure members of the State House of Assembly themselves were not there. So what they ought to do is to call the governor himself, and then we also reach out to those who may have information, who were there, who were present, to also give them information, and in order to determine what actually happened on that day at the residence of former Governor Yahaya Bello.
Okay, now let's look at, of course, some of the things even the media team of the former governor is saying. Number one, they are calling the whole process of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, inviting the governor and all of that, illegal. They even branded the commission itself as being, in their words, of course, being lawless and dishonorable. That's the word in strong terms by the legal team of the governor, saying that the governor was never invited and the idea of painting him at large, is out of place. And there are also alleged feelers that even the State House that you're writing to are pushing that these allegations be dropped, right? So I just want you to react to this.
It is not strange for us to see politicians and persons accused of corrupt practices to try to bring down the agencies that are trying to investigating them. So I would want to discountenance the statement from the former governor, from the former governor's media aide, and even from the state house itself, from Kogi State Lord Lugard House. Now, this is what we're saying. If you genuinely feel, one, that your hands are clean, what you do is to go to court. There have been attempts, at least, at serving him with the charges against him. Why did he avoid those charges? Why did he avoid going there? That's one. Secondly, now the court has directed that the charge should be served on his counsel, and it was received in open court. Why? What else does he want? I mean, you now know the charges against you. All you need to do is to prepare and go to court. But you see, all these attempts to divert our attention by calling the EFCC an illegal law is only trying to play the ostrich here. He needs to come clean. If indeed his hands are clean, he should go, let the due process be followed. You see, our law is very clear. Every person is presumed innocent until proven guilty before a court of law. The EFCC has attempted now to charge him before a court. That's the only way he can go and clear his name. So he should go there and clear his name. Their allegations against him have been out all over the place long before his exit from the governor as governor of Kogi State. And so I think if he was a smart person, he would be prepared with his defense. So all this running around, all this, it's just not appropriate. It is not proper. And it is not strange. Governor Yahaya Bello has always shown a great level of disdain for the judiciary and judicial process, right from his first day in office as governor.
You said Governor Yahaya Bello has shown a great level of disdain for the judiciary. That's weighty. Why do you think that is? Can you substantiate that?
Absolutely. The relationship between Governor Yahaya Bello and the former Chief Judge of Kogi State, I've forgotten his name, who died of COVID in 2020, I think, is a typical example of what we're talking about. Now, Governor Yahaya Bello, because of disagreements with the Chief Judge, because the Chief Judge refused to become his ally like this, like all the other organs of the state had become. He made every effort to frustrate the chief judge, making it very difficult for the judiciary to operate. In fact, he withheld funds from the judiciary for several months. For several months. Eventually, when this chief judge died, in fact, he attempted to remove the chief judge. He did remove the chief judge. Between him and the State House of Assembly, they removed the chief judge. And it was only a fearless judge who eventually reinstated the chief judge of Kogi State. This and many others. Now, between that time and now, you've had a series of activities from Yahaya Bello that clearly shows that, look, he has no respect for the judiciary or for the judicial process. And so his attempt here now to evade, to avoid, facing the law, going to court, is not strange. And one would understand why the EFCC must clearly adopt a very strong hand process or approach to ensuring that he comes and faces his allegations before him and puts up a defense if he has any.
Now, you talked about the EFCC. That would take me to my next question. Now, some perceive the EFCC as an appendage or as a tool, in the hands of, well, I call it certain maybe politicians or powerful individuals that, use it at will. Even the EFCC chairman, in that video that we showed at the beginning of the show, debunked such allegation. But some have also questioned the modus operandi of the institution itself, saying that sometimes it behaves like it's not bound by the laws of the land, and it also acts like it's partisan. Do you think so?
First, I'm not holding brief for the EFCC. The EFCC has in the past behaved in inappropriate ways. One cannot deny that, and so I'm not going to hold brief for EFCC. But I can tell you one thing for certain. As someone who has been monitoring the events relating to the investigations and attempt to arrest Yahaya Bello, see anywhere that the EFCC has done anything wrong. I cannot find fault with the process so far. And I think it's important that we also commend the EFCC, because what transpired at the residence of Governor Yahaya Bello in Abuja last week could have become, it could have turned some sort of free-for-all fights. We all witnessed what transpired at the premise of the Federal High Court between the DSS and the Correctional Service officers when former CBN Governor Emefiele was arrested. The conduct of the EFCC officials at that time is commendable. So I really cannot find any fault with the procedure they have adopted so far, at least.
But would you also say that the way the EFCC is, of course, going about the case of the former governor of the CBN, which you mentioned, would you say that it's also commendable? Because we keep seeing trumped-up charges. It looks like the case keeps moving in circles without any point of direction.
Like I said, I'm not holding brief for the EFCC. And regarding the former CBN governor's case, yes. Well, for me, it would appear for me like the EFCC is not ready because, yes, really. But like I said again, while it is indeed true that in the past, they have behaved in ways that are less than acceptable. But specifically for Yahaya Bello's case, I do not find fault in all the things they have done so far. I think the EFCC, in fact, has conducted itself very, very properly so far over the Yahaya Bello matter.
From your letter, you also identified yourself being, a member of or an indigene of that particular state. But I would like to take your reaction on the fact that lawyers like yourself, about 500 of them, did protest against the purported call for the arrest of the governor. What do you say to that?
I don't know the lawyers that protested. I can assure you that I doubt anyway very strongly that there is any lawyer amongst them. I doubt if there is any lawyer who is what is sought, who is going to carry placards to go under the sun in defense of Yahaya Bello. But in any event, this Nigerian Bar Association, through its PRO, has come out to say, at least specifically the leader of the team of lawyers that went to the Supreme Court is not a lawyer. So please, you and I know that it is quite easy to recruit protesters these days. It doesn't cost more than 1,000 naira each to recruit protesters. So I mean, for 5,000, for 500 protesters, maybe about 500,000 will do that. I mean, Governor Yahaya Bello is rich enough to recruit protesters, and they can call themselves anything. They can call themselves lawyers. They can call themselves aliens. But I tell you with almost certainty that those people there were paid protesters and they were not lawyers. And that has been corroborated by the Nigerian Bar Association.
Okay, now let's look at Kogi State holistically. Kogi State has been, when it comes to politics, pretty much a hotbed, right? We have pretty much very outspoken politicians who are firebrand coming from there. And some would argue that in spite of the brains and, the tenacity of many of the politicians, when you look at the level of development in that state, it doesn't seem to match up. Why do you think that is?
Okay, I'll give you my candid opinion. There's a lot of violence in politics in Kogi State, particularly. So quite naturally, a lot of people are discouraged from getting involved in the politics of Kogi State. I'll tell you.
Why is that?
I'll tell you. After I wrote the letter to the Kogi State House of Assembly, for instance, I have received series of threats. Series of threats to my phone, to my social media platforms, and of course, I have not faced, of course. So, but you can imagine, and I'm not even in Kogi State at the moment. I mean, I live in Abuja. So just imagine how many people would, be willing to stake their lives and risk their security to come out to get involved in politics in Kogi State. I think very few will, especially those who actually are worth their salt. So yes, I'll tell you the truth. There's a lot of violence that.
Sorry, I would like to stay with you. You said since you have written that letter to the House requesting the impeachment of the governor because of his role, largely because of his role in the arrest invitation by the EFCC to the former governor, you've received threats. Why do you think that, in spite of the many controversies and scandals surrounding the former governor, talking about Yahaya Bello, he seems to have so much influence in the state?
When you have plenty money, you have plenty influence, and it's as simple as that. Yahaya Bello has amassed so much wealth. I mean, he's been governor for 8 years, for whatever it is worth. You know that, officially, he must have made quite a lot of money. And even before he became governor, I'm sure he had money too. And it's quite easy to influence people when you have that kind of money, especially when you have pauperized the state. When you have pauperized the state, you find it quite easy to use the people that you have pauperized so much by giving them stipends and making them go after those who seem to be speaking out against you. And that was what happened. That's what has been happening in Kogi State since 2015 when Yahaya Bello became governor. Everybody, every voice that speaks out against Yahaya Bello is silenced either by total outright disappearance or by threats, intimidation, and so many others. I am aware of at least 1 or 2 journalists whom the former governor attempted to go after simply because they didn't seem to be speaking in his favor, or they didn't seem to be speaking, say positive things about him. So it's quite easy to even call even your colleagues, media people in the media, give them stipends, and they'll write quite a lot of beautiful stories about him. But that's totally, I think that's common. That should be common knowledge. So that perceived influence you are saying is acquired influence acquired through the use of money after pauperizing the populace.
All right, I'm still going to stay with you on the threat you said you're receiving since you've sent in that letter. Do you feel that your life is at stake?
My life cannot be at stake. My life cannot be at stake. Nobody can take my life. I'm preparing to take steps to report some of the persons who have issued some of those threats. We are going to report them to law enforcement agencies so that
you know some of them.
Invited to. Sorry, pardon me?
You've been able to identify some of those threatening,
Oh,
sending
yes,
you
some
the
of them,
threats?
I mean, we've been able to identify some of them through their social media handles. So
Hmm.
it's not a problem. We will report them to the appropriate authorities. My lawyers are taking steps to do that now as I speak.
Hmm. So what happens should...
But I'm not threatened. I don't feel threatened. I'm not afraid. And you see, when you come to fight, when you come to speak, when you come to make, to speak about issues such as this, you would have prepared yourself. You would have already told yourself that to prepare your mind to meet anything at all. And that's where we are.
So what happens if the House does not do anything about your letter?
The House, I'll be very honest with you, I don't expect the House to do anything. Because the House itself was purchased by Yahaya Bello, just like he purchased Ododo to become governor. And so I did not write with the hope that they are going to, do anything. You can see that they have already come out and made a statement in support of the former governor, even without any investigations whatsoever. Does that not tell you how biased and the State House of Assembly is? But let me also assure you that we are taking steps to go to court to compel them to do the proper thing.
All right.
And very soon that will be out.
All right, Deji Ajare, Executive Director, Sterling Law Center from Abuja. Thank you for your time on the conversation.
Thank you very much for having me today.
All right, and please stay safe. And that's a wrap on today's episode. In case you missed it, you can actually catch up on our YouTube platform. The name is New Central Television. My name is Dakpo Adigboye. Bye for now.